Have you ever desperately wanted to learn something new? Pick up an instrument or a new language or even just a piece of software, but you stop yourself before you even start thinking, I just don't have the time. Well, what if I told you there's a method that completely flips that idea on its head and shows you how to get remarkably good at almost anything way faster than you think?
So this whole idea, it starts with a moment of pure panic. The author, Josh Kaufman, had just become a new dad, and he's looking at this beautiful chaos of his new life and has the thought that, let's be honest, many of us have had. I am never going to have free time ever again. His passion for learning new things felt like it was about to die. And that's really where this whole thing kicks off.
So, Kaufman goes looking for an answer. He's asking, how long does it really take to learn something new? And he keeps running into one big, scary number. A number that honestly acts like the villain in our story today, because it's the thing that stops most of us cold.
I'm sure you've heard of it, the 10,000-hour rule. It looms over us like this massive, unclimbable mountain. It suggests that true skill is so far out of reach that it's just not even worth trying. It's really the ultimate excuse to procrastinate forever. And just to put that number into perspective, right? 10,000 hours is the same as working a full-time, 40-hour-a-week job for 5 solid years. I mean, who has that kind of time, just lying around to learn how to play the guitar or speak a little bit of Spanish? For most of us, that's just a non-starter.
Okay. So here's the absolute key. We've been comparing the wrong things. That 10,000-hour rule, that's for becoming a world-class top 1% expert. Most of us don't want to be the next Serena Williams. We just want to hit a tennis ball without looking silly. Our goal isn't elite performance, it's just being reasonably good. And for that, the number isn't 10,000, it's 20.
And let's be super clear about where this myth even came from. It's from the work of Dr. K. Anders Ericsson, who was studying the absolute best of the best. We're talking professional athletes, chess grandmasters, concert violinists. He was researching what it takes to get to the very, very top of these ultra-competitive fields.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. It's how that super specific finding got completely twisted over time. It was like a giant society-wide game of telephone. Dr. Ericsson's very specific point about reaching the top of a field gets popularized by Malcolm Gladwell as what it takes to be an expert. That then gets watered down into what it takes to be good, and finally, the myth is born. It takes 10,000 hours just to learn anything. And that last part, it's just flat out wrong.
All right, so let's agree to just toss that intimidating myth out the window. What's the alternative? Well, this next idea is the revelation that changes the whole game. It's not about lowering the bar. It's about setting the right bar for what we actually want to do.
Let's look at the actual science here. This is the learning curve, and it shows something brilliant. When you first start learning anything, you go from knowing absolutely nothing, from being grossly incompetent, to being actually pretty decent, really, really fast. That super steep part of the curve, that's where the magic happens. It's the most rewarding progress you'll make.
So how long does that initial rapid burst of learning take? How long to go from knowing nothing to being surprisingly good? Well, according to Kaufman's research, the answer is this: 20 hours. And before you say, but I don't have 20 hours, let's break that down. 20 hours is about 45 minutes a day for a month. For most of us, that's less time than we spend scrolling social media or watching Netflix every day. This is so achievable. But, and this is a big but, the key isn't just putting in the time. It has to be focused, deliberate practice.
Okay, so we've got our magic number, 20. But you can't just noodle around for 20 hours and expect results, right? There's a method to the madness, a simple 4-step toolkit for making those 20 hours count.
First up, you have to deconstruct the skill. See, most skills are really just big bundles of smaller skills. So your job is to break it down into the smallest possible pieces. Then you ask yourself, what are the critical few parts that will give me 80% of the results I want? You practice those first.
Step 2, learn just enough to be able to tell when you're making a mistake. Go find 3 to 5 resources, books, videos, maybe an online course, but don't use them to procrastinate by over-researching. The goal isn't to become a walking encyclopedia. It's to learn just enough so you can catch your own errors and fix them as you go.
Third, and this one is huge, remove your barriers to practice. And by barriers, I mean distractions. Your phone, the TV, the internet. Willpower is going to fail you, okay? So just rig the game in your favor. Make it easier to start practicing than it is to start scrolling. And finally, step 4, and this might be the most important one. Pre-commit to practicing for the full 20 hours. Why? Because every new skill has what Kaufman calls the frustration barrier. It's that awful part of the beginning where you know you're terrible and you just feel stupid. And since we all hate feeling stupid, that's when we quit. Committing to 20 hours is the thing that forces you through that barrier until you start seeing real results. So, does this actually work in the real world? Well, Kaufman put it to the test by learning the ukulele. He deconstructed the skill and realized something amazing. Instead of learning hundreds of chords, most pop songs only use the same 4. So by focusing on just those 4, G, D, E, M, and C, he was able to play dozens and dozens of songs he already knew within his first 20 hours.
And all of this, it builds to the most important takeaway of all. Because this method, it's about more than just a clever learning hack. It's a tool for overcoming the one real barrier that truly holds every one of us back. And here it is, the major barrier to learning something new. It's not intellectual. It's not about how smart you are. It's emotional. We're scared. We're scared of feeling stupid. And that feeling is such a powerful deterrent that it usually stops us from even trying in the first place.
And this is the core idea right here. The 20-hour rule isn't really a time management technique. It's a psychological tool. It's a framework that helps us push past that initial fear, that frustration, and stick with something just long enough to see that, hey, I can actually do this.
So the barrier to entry for learning almost any new skill is so much lower than you've been told. You don't need 5 years, you need 20 hours, which means the only question left is, what is it that you've always wanted to learn? What really lights you up? Go out and do that thing.